Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome to Food Chest. Hope you're doing well. Top of the day to you. Happy new month. Yeah, man. So a lot of things have been happening. Interesting stuff, right? So, if you're someone who lives in the U.S., you obviously know that the class action lawsuit between U.S. users of Facebook and Meta, which is Facebook, the parent company, they've reached a settlement, right? So if you were a Facebook user from, say, like 2007, I think you probably received some money, about maybe $30 or $50 in your PayPal or bank account or whatever. So US users received some money. Now received some money. Now, would Nigerians also receive money? So basically, there was a lawsuit between Meta and the Nigerian. I want to get it right. So the Nigerian, one of the commissions in Nigeria, I believe, is the Nigerian Data Protection Commission. It's one of the arms of the Data Protection Commissions in Nigeria that sued Meta recently, and there's meant to be a settlement. The court date is set for October 31st, which is the end of this month, and maybe Nigerians are going to receive some money. I don't think so, though, but because this is not a class action lawsuit, right? This is a government lawsuit against Meta. So the money is not going to be, it's not a class action. So individuals in Nigeria will not receive money. But if that was the case, when I was, looking at this case, right? Because it has to do with competition law as well and an international trade law and things and data protection, which is something I'm interested in. I was wondering that if it was a class action lawsuit, would individuals in Nigeria be receiving the money just like how Americans receive the money? And I was wondering, does Nigeria have the infrastructure to make sure that every user receives their money if it was a class action lawsuit? Just something I was pondering on. And I hope, and I think you might be wondering the same thing too, but it's just an interesting concept. However, I am proud of the Nigerian Data Protection Commission for this, but this is going to be a great, if it is ruled that Meta is going to be paying, I believe it's $32.8 million to the Nigerian Data Protection Commission. They'll be receiving this money from Meta. This is huge. And I'm actually proud of the Nigerian agencies for following through on this. Now, it's not only the Nigerian Data Protection Commission that went after this. It was actually a couple other branches of the Nigerian government, the Nigerian kind of the regulatory data protection arms that went against this. This included the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCCPC, the Nigerian Data Protection Commission, the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria as well. So it was a multi-pronged fight with Meta. Not a fight, but you know what I'm talking about. So I think this is huge for Nigeria. I think it sets a precedent that, and just to give you some background, right? So this lawsuit was basically brought against because Meta was kind of using the data of various people in Nigeria and people outside of Nigeria, but Nigerian citizens for various things. And there was unfair usage of the data. And sometimes when they use the data, how they rewarded people from other countries, like in Europe, they didn't reward Nigerians the same way. So there was an unfair practice going on, unfair competition, unfair advertising schemes and things like that. And I'm very proud of Nigeria for kind of fighting this and getting a resolution. I think this is huge for the Nigerian government, and it sets the precedent that, these big companies cannot use the data of various of Nigerians. And I'm going to get to the African part as well. Just using the data of Nigerians without proper abiding by the data regulations within the country. And that is one of the things that also, for example, if you're on Instagram, you find out that there are some photographers that photograph African kids. And one of the questions I always ask when I see these photographs, are the parents informed? Because these photographers, they use these images and they put it, and people are liking it, people are commenting, and this kid that the images are used, are the parents aware? Is there a consent given for these photographers or advertisers to use the image of these kids. So I think this is also linked to it because, in the age we live in, it's important for countries to protect the data of their citizens, which makes it very important for big corporations to abide by the regulations of these countries. Let's give an example. For example, like in Europe, you have the GDPR, which is the EU Data Protection Agency, which indicates that you can use EU citizens' information, whether it's inside the EU or outside the EU. These corporations can't just use the information without abiding by the set rules. So this brings me to the fact that I think that Africa as a whole needs to also commission a body that enforces data protection of Africans, AU citizens as a whole. Nigeria has set the precedent. I don't know if any other country has fought and won, but I think this is a huge thing for Nigeria and Nigerian citizens because, we criticize Nigerians a lot, or the Nigerian government. But I believe that when something good like this happens, I think we should also kind of blow the trumpet and say, yes, this is something good that has happened. Now, if this is awarded, this $32.8 million, one of the questions I have is, how is this money going to be used? Now, the Nigerian Data Protection Commission indicates that it's going to be used for infrastructure updates and also to enforce more protection of Nigerians and their data. Great on paper. I hope this is going to be enforced. I hope this is not just going to be, just something that is said, but actually something is actually enforced, because this is a huge amount of money and it would be great for it to be used to kind of improve, data protection, infrastructures, different things to make sure that Nigerian citizens are protected in Nigeria and abroad as well. And in case of a time when there's a class action lawsuit, that Nigerians receive the money individually, just like the one, tying it back to what just happened with the US consumers and individual users of Meta or Facebook in the US, and how everyone who signed up for this class action lawsuit received some money. So if such a thing was to happen, because Africa is the future, a lot of companies are going to be coming to Africa for various things. So it's important for the tone or, this laws to be set so that if this companies breach, that, citizens gain, governments gain, and things like that happen. So guys, let me know what you think about this. This is a huge win for the Nigerian protection agencies. Again, the three agencies that fought for this, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Nigerian Data Protection Commission, Advertising Regulation Council of Nigeria as well. Kudos to these three these three commissions. Great job. Keep up the good work, man. This is huge. And I hope the money is used for to improve and to make sure that further, whether it's Meta, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, because Nigeria, Africa is a huge user, that citizens are being protected, their data are being protected. And, other multinational companies who are infiltrating the African market, they follow suit as well. And Africa begins to think of a body that they will create to protect AU citizens' data in the long run, just like America has, the EU has as well. And I believe Asia has one too. So guys, let me know what you think about this. I think it's huge. Let me know what you think. This is Food Chest. It's your boy. Peace.